Daniel!
No!
It is a weekend filled with home dogs, but also with a lot of fluff. Pleasing to the eye, but certain to have a fair amount of bark. What is our nickname for this Saturday?
You really set that up nicely for me. This is a Stockton, maybe a Stockton Hornacek situation. Hornacek, I don't know. We'll see. Well, look, I originally went sink your teeth Saturday, right? Because there's enough meat here that I get excited. And I thought to myself, well, who does the best job of sinking their teeth, Ty? And that would be our furry friends. I have this as a Samoyed Saturday as a nice little tribute to your fluffy dog, Beira. How about that, Ty?
I love it.
This was all me.
This was all you. I love it. I am all about paying sweet homage to my dear pup, Miss Beira. Yeah, it's a beautiful weekend of games, is it not? Week one was exciting just to kind of break the ice, crack the neck, get us down this pathway, this journey that will encompass us for the next couple of months. But week two is where the rubber really meets the road. We are chock full of all sorts of awesome action. We appreciate folks who are watching this stream live on YouTube. Again, we do it every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time. If you can't make it this time, make sure you make it next time. You're also going to be able to listen to this podcast immediately thereafter on our public podcast feed. Just going out to our website, solidverbal.com, or wherever you get your podcasts, if you want to listen and find out more about our brand of unique content here on the show. Dan,
should we stay on theme and talk big dogs?
I would love to. Let's just jump in, should we?
Let's do it.
Dan, time, help. I need picks of the week.
Don't forget, verballers.com is where you can go play, run the board. That is the name of our week 2 pick'em game. We went out, we purchased with our hard-earned cash a $100 gift card to Home Field, where you can go out and buy college-themed shirts of all makes and models. We're going to give that away to the winner. Again, you can only play at verballers.com. You also get access to all of our bonus perks, which we'll talk a little bit more about as we go through the course of the next 60 minutes or so. But you mentioned big dogs. Big dogs. My turn to pick this week, the 3 big dog games of the week. And look, we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up the Colorado story again, man.
Yeah, that's true.
12 noon Eastern time on Fox. It is the Nebraska Cornhuskers. It is the Colorado Buffaloes. Colorado is a home favorite of 3 points. This is the latest installment of a historic rivalry. Look, Nebraska, Colorado, we have talked about this matchup ad nauseum for years on end.
Sure.
And the fact that we get it now amid everything going on with Nebraska having a new coach, with Colorado in the midst of this huge wave of enthusiasm, I was getting text messages from people that I don't normally talk to. Friends of mine who know that I do this, who just took it upon themselves on Saturday afternoon to message me and say, hey, man, what do you think of this Colorado deal? What do you think of this Colorado story?
I've gotten a ton of that myself. Yeah.
What is the key to this game if we can evaluate it objectively, given all of the subjectivity that is out there in the college football ether?
In terms of it being competitive, in terms of getting an entertaining back and forth, is that what you're looking to
in terms of that, or in terms of how you were going to pick this game? Again, Colorado -3 at home.
Yeah, the fascinating thing will be sort of growth of Colorado along its lines to become a more complete team, because I think any question about whether or not Colorado had the speed or the talent, even though guys had come from all over the place, obviously Travis Hunter, but Joe Horn Jr., a freshman, and Dylan Edwards, who flipped from Notre Dame. Sorry about that. I didn't have to add that to the end of that thought, but I did. I don't know. That's just who I am, I suppose. Any of those questions I feel like were immediately answered last week. So I think right now it's how quickly can the Colorado offensive line improve to the point where they are, I don't know, a strength, but not a liability necessarily. How can Colorado learn to win in multiple ways as they go? Because right now, I don't think a lot of people have a ton of faith in Nebraska's offense this year, the way it's constructed. We saw them maybe improve a little bit when I think it was Marcus Washington came back from suspension against Minnesota, their best receiver. But for me, the question and the competitive nature in this game, I think, is going to rely on Nebraska's ability to be something that they really couldn't or didn't show on offense last week against Minnesota on the road in a crazy atmosphere. What Big Noon Saturday is going to be there. I worry that maybe we're going to get not as entertaining of a back and forth as what we saw between Colorado and TCU last week, because I don't think Nebraska is going to hold up its end of the bargain. But I think there is a chance that Nebraska can show more on defense now that they have actual tape on what Colorado Lewis's intentions are on offense.
And that brings me to my point. I think the biggest key to this game is the fact that Matt Rule now has tape on Colorado. That
one game.
It's one game, but it's still something. And I think that does make a difference in this football game, because when he pops it in the VCR,
that's what
he's immediately going to notice that Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter and what they did and what Dylan Edwards did in week 1 is super impressive. And then he's also going to have to notice, I think he's going to have to notice, because this is what Matt Rule does, that Colorado had to overcompensate for a defense that mostly was a sieve against TCU.
Sure.
Those were the headliners, but what actually makes a difference now as we get deeper into the season against other competition, now with tape, is the fact that the defense was bad. I believe in Colorado's skill talent. I think they're elite. I don't believe in them almost anywhere else. Not yet anyway. And Matt Rule's going to pick up on that. He made a career of picking up on that, at least in his couple stints on the college level.
Well, Phil Snow did, sir.
Phil Snow, whoever.
Stands. Yeah.
Whoever, but he's made a habit of building the boring stuff first.
Yeah.
And winning boring before he wins shiny. And he's going to see that Colorado's lines are suspect. I think Nebraska can and will take advantage of that to some extent. You're going to see heavier sets on offense than what TCU ran last week. Probably more emphasis on taking their time and keeping that Colorado offense off the field. TCU plays very up-tempo, and they had the ball for something like 25 minutes last weekend. That's going to change with Nebraska. I am buying the hype for this game. I think it will be a good game. I think it'll be great for both programs to be in the limelight. Again, for Colorado and Nebraska, again, getting a matchup of this high caliber. I don't know how else to put it, but I don't think it's as high-scoring a game. I've got it something like 31-30 in that range.
Wow, Nebraska scoring 30 points. Okay.
Yeah. I don't believe in Colorado's defense, not yet. I think Colorado wins.
Okay, so you think Colorado wins but doesn't cover?
I think it's a close game. I think it's a good game, and we would all be better college football fans for it if it goes that route. That'd be awesome.
Man, I do not buy Nebraska scoring that many points. As questionable as Colorado's defense at times might be, I think TCU has really talented skill dudes as well that Nebraska just doesn't. And so I don't think it's going to go the exact same way. I think I have Colorado winning this one. Maybe it's a little bit of a back and forth early, but I don't know. I think they're a more talented team playing at home. I don't think Colorado is exactly what they were last week. And honestly, if that game is played, and this is taking zero away from the Buffaloes, because what they did last week and what they showed last week was pretty incredible. But to get those two specific turnovers in the end zone like they did, one, it means that they're really good at clamping down in a big situational moment. But two, I don't know how often you can win absolutely needing those two things to occur. Now, Travis Hunter should be playing every single game and probably every single snap for Colorado until he can't this year. And so to write that off as a freak occurrence, it's not. That's a normal thing that he can do because he's incredible. I wonder what he looks like in terms of snap count this week. If they're not confident in Nebraska moving the ball through the air, do they give him a series or two off at corner, right? If there's nobody that truly needs to be covered, like there was in a passing offense, like what TCU had to offer, what does his rest situation look like? Because I can tell you this, Ty, Travis Hunter, whatever you want to call him, the Heisman favorite at this point, front runner, doing a player who's doing the unthinkable. The unthinkable is playing 118 snaps a game. That's unthinkable. And so they're going to need to be those designated drives off on one side of the ball or the other, because it's a long, long season to be playing that much. I get the excitement and I get that he's different, but that's just more opportunity for injury, which would be pretty catastrophic for what Colorado does on both sides of the ball. That to me is going to be interesting to track as this game goes on.
So we agree on the victor.
Yeah.
You're not taking Nebraska plus the points. You're going.
No, I 28-17 Colorado.
Okay, we disagree. Off to a hot start here.
Yep.
Let's go to our second big dog of the weekend.
Yes.
From our friend Brett McMurphy, Miami is offering a buy one, get one ticket special for this weekend's game. Fans who purchase tickets for Saturday's Texas A&M game, which is $125 for the upper deck and $205 for the lower end zone, or $310 for the club corner. Hey,
yeah,
why not? You will receive a free ticket for the Georgia Tech game on October the 2nd. I don't know if that's
buy one, get one. Is that what they call it? The kids are calling it now?
Little BOGO, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that says more about the Miami fan base not being present for a really big game like this one, a big dog as it were,
right,
or if it says more about Georgia Tech that they're giving that game away for free. But nonetheless, this is where we are in week 2. The game is at 3:30.
It also says a lot about enthusiasm after last season. Yes. Like, it's kind of smart marketing. Like, you can make fun of Miami for not being able to sell out a bunch of games, but like, if you're not obviously winning, do things to incentivize a more electric atmosphere. I don't blame them for this. That's good.
Game's at 3:30.
Yeah.
It's on ABC. It's Texas A&M coming to town. They're a 4.5-point favorite squaring off against the Miami Hurricanes. Did this line surprise you at all?
Did you say Texas Tech or Texas A&M? It doesn't matter because it
Texas
is
A&M minus 4.5.
It did surprise me. The note I wrote down was, what exactly did Texas A&M do to earn this, right? And obviously it's not Texas A&M calling up the Bellagio and saying, this is where we feel we are. It's an interesting line to say, what has Texas A&M done on the road? What have they proven offensively? What have they proven in terms of being together as a team enough to the point, if we think Miami is at least quality, to say, 4.5, 5 points on the road as a favorite? That's my note, because I still favor teams, especially early on, that are playing at home, that are as healthy as they will be all season long early on in September. And there's still open questions to be, as impressive as A&M and granted Miami were last week, there's open questions about A&M stopping the run, which we saw Miami at least that's going to be the intention, that Miami playing big old Mario Gorilla Ball, say what you will, that's still going to be a priority. They did it nicely last week with Henry Parrish and who was the other? Was Walton? I don't remember. But they did it impressively last week against Miami of Ohio. Super curious about Miami's offensive line holding up against Texas A&M's pass rush.
Yeah.
With a healthy TVD, with Colby Young emerging as a number one receiver, it's secretly a very good receiver game for, having Evan Stewart and Colby Young on the same field. I'm fascinated by this matchup. I am happily going to take the points because I think Miami's defense is in a decent enough place. They take care of business in week 1 that I'm a believer. We both were believers coming into the season that Miami would be noticeably improved. And so I just don't have anything. I don't have meat on that bone to feel confident about Texas A&M as a road favorite. So I'm going with home dog.
Wow. Look, I did the Miami preview.
Yeah.
And I was all in on Miami over 7.5. I forget what the line was officially. I think they're like an 8-4 team.
Okay.
I think they're much improved. That would be a 3-win improvement. To your point, that would be an improved Miami team. I thought they looked good and balanced on offense in week 1. Ultimately, not much to take away from a big win over Miami, Ohio, though. And none of that's going to give us any inside angle on what happens in this game against Texas A&M. I'm going to hold on to what I said in the preseason. I like Tyler Van Dyke. I like the way that your boy Mario has built up the trenches. In theory, this defense should be solid, should be improved. I like Shannon Dawson, the new offensive coordinator. You're right. It should be a very receiver-friendly system, whether it's Colby Young or whoever else. It's just, I need to see more.
Of course.
I need to see more before I'm willing to go there, especially with a game like this against Texas A&M. Like, who truly are the gravitational players? The proven gravitational players that we can point to in a game like this against a team that I think is way more talent. Who are those guys that we can point to and say those are the ones that are going to beat A&M?
I think the safeties for Miami. I think they've built up depth on the defensive line with dudes who can be game breakers.
But are the safeties and the defensive linemen going to score points?
They can prevent points. They can change complexion of games. And look, is the gravitational more Connor Wegman or TVD?
I think it's Connor Wegman,
Do
personally.
you think Connor Wegman's better than TVD?
I don't know if he's better, but I think in this game with the talent around him, it's Connor Wegman.
Okay, see, I think TVD is the better quarterback and he's playing at home. Like, if I'm going to oversimplify it and reduce it down to the core, look, you have to take it away. You have to figure out which coach will infuriate his own fan base less. And so Mario at home, Jimbo on the road, a more experienced quarterback, a nice fresh start for Miami. Look, I'm obviously painting a rosy picture of the Canes, but I am still a believer in a home team early on in the season that Texas A&M has not fully been formed to go about the country barnstorming as favorites against quality teams.
That's fair. That's totally fair. And I think what we're both saying is we don't know what we're betting on here.
Totally.
There's no way we could. It's week 2. I am skeeved out a little bit by the fact that I still don't really know what I'm getting from the Miami offense.
True.
And
totally
I think it'll be better, but I would like to see, or like to have at this point, more of a proven concept out wide. Know that TVD is throwing to reliable targets that can test what I think is a really reliable and should be a pretty good secondary.
Yeah.
For Texas A&M. So for me, because that scares me, because A&M is crazy deep.
Yep.
Along the defensive line, I've got something like 27-20 Texas A&M in a good game, another good game.
Okay, so you're planting your flag right now that you believe Texas A&M is like a 9-10 win team.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
Fair enough.
I am.
We
disagree. That's 2 in a row.
Yes.
Let's get to our final big dog. You know what's coming. 7 p.m. Texas at Alabama. Alabama, a 7.5-point home favorite. The vibe I got from reading Texas people, from talking to the Texas people in our Verballer Discord, was that last week was kind of lumpy.
Mm-hmm.
The win over Rice, 37-10. First half was blah. Second half was better. The line wasn't great. Quinn Ewers didn't look sharp. The defense was pretty good.
Yeah, it was very good, I think.
Defense was very good. JT Daniels, every time I looked up and every time I watched highlights, JT Daniels seemed to be running for his life the whole game. And Rice had, I don't know, 27 yards rushing, something crazy like that. So I don't know what you can take from that, because it is not apples to apples to say Rice ran for 27 yards. And we know Alabama wants to run for 27 yards. So therefore, I'm not going to draw that conclusion. But it is interesting that Texas, again, looked good on defense. They were good on defense a year ago, especially against the run. To what end do we kind of draw any conclusions from that? To what end are you looking at what you saw from the Texas defense last year, projecting forward now into this big game? This is a 1-point game a year ago, 20-19, that Alabama almost lost.
With a much better quarterback. And I think Jalen Milroe is very good, but in terms of where Bryce Young was as a Heisman caliber quarterback and the seasoning he had, obvious national championship ceiling as a quarterback, where we don't know that with where Alabama currently stands. The game's in Tuscaloosa. That's a difference. The game should feature a better Texas defense, although they played pretty well last year and just until those last couple drives. And you have the obvious knowledge that Steve Sarkisian has of Nick Saban and the internal operations and game planning that Alabama has. And so I thought that played a role in how Texas was successful last year. It was the game that everybody still points to in terms of Quinn Ewers looking very strong until the injury he suffered with Hudson Card coming in relief. In terms of this year's matchup, I think it's close. Because of the Texas defense, because of that, the internal knowledge that Steve Sarkisian has, because Jalen Milroe is incredible, but I think the Texas defense can do enough to force him to be a pocket quarterback more often than not. And maybe he completely shreds them and makes them pay for, picking their poison like that, because you saw the connection, I think, was Isaiah Bond last week. A couple really nice passes. So maybe that's developing there. I like Alabama to win this game, but I like it a little bit closer than what the line is at time of recording. So I had it at 27-21. So that's Texas barely covering. Alabama, again, winning late. The emerging young defensive stars that Alabama have might make a difference in this one. And Can't wait to watch. Texas a little bit beat up on offense. I worry a little bit about the winter wonder quality. I think Texas has very good receivers, but star power at receiver, Xavier Worthy sometimes. You can count me in the category of what exactly has Quinn Ewers done to garner the attention and spotlight that obviously being the starting quarterback for Texas gives you. But I'm call me a Ewers skeptic until proven otherwise.
You may recall that I've got Texas in my playoff.
Yeah.
One of my
make the playoff losing this game though.
Could still make the playoff losing this game.
Yeah.
But it is not lost on me that if ever there were a moment for Sark, he knows what to expect in Tuscaloosa of Nick Saban, of a number of players on the team because he helped recruit them. The game last year was way closer than anybody ever dreamt possible, 20-19. And I stand by the fact, and I know you're going to make fun of me for this, but I don't care. I stand by the fact that if Quinn Ewers does not get hurt in that game, Texas wins.
Okay.
Stand by it.
How many points had Texas scored when he got hurt?
I don't remember. Don't ask me specifics.
Okay.
All right. This is just a raw reaction, emotional from Ty Hildenbrand.
Yeah. That's okay.
That is how I feel deep into my marrow. This year, I think Texas is good enough to keep the Alabama offense in check. I think they're good enough on offense to score. I think Texas goes to Tuscaloosa and wins outright. I've got it 28-24. Texas pulls the upset of the weekend.
Wow. Okay, so we agree on the line and taking the dog here that it's probably a little bit too much. You have it outright?
Outright,
okay.
Yeah.
So what we're going to have to see is a second half offense from Texas, which is not something we're super used to as college football observers. And to do it in Tuscaloosa, okay.
I think this could be one of those Rhesus games where you're watching the play calling on the Alabama side and wondering why are they doing this? Why are they running this?
Well, now that you can downgrade his shining moment last year in beating Clemson with Notre Dame.
I have priors, okay? I have priors.
Are we going to talk about that? I mean, we did a video. We put something out there. I don't know if you want to have the morning window brought to you by a quick Clemson-Duke recap. But man, okay. Any concluding thoughts on Texas Alabama? You have this as a mental block of a game for Tommy Rees in the Alabama offense.
28-24.
Okay.
28-24.
Sark in a big game on the road. Okay. Let me write this down real quick.
So we sort of agree.
Sark against the greatest coach of all time on the road. Okay. And we sort of agree, but not an outcome. Next.
Should we get to our early games?
Let's, please.
Interestingly enough, I think this is also the window of opportunity. Yeah. The later you go this weekend, the harder it gets to find a real window where you can miss the action and not feel guilty about it.
Right.
That's my opinion. I don't know if you feel differently.
I've got the crazy curiosity about Colorado, and there's enough in the early window. I'm looking at the afternoon, and the games you have down here to talk about, I think I'd rather watch the early games.
Okay. But sometime in the afternoon, not at night. We agree on that. The window of opportunity is not at night.
Of course.
On Samoyed Saturday.
Yes, I agree.
We can talk about Clemson and Duke a little bit later, but I want to.
There's not much to talk about, but
there's not much to talk about, except there is. But we'll get to that. I promise you.
Yeah.
Let's stay on topic here and talk about 12 o'clock ESPN, Utah -7.5 on the road at Baylor.
Yeah.
This may be the battle of the backups. Cam Rising did not play last week for Utah against Florida, reportedly making progress in his rehab from an ACL injury. But if he can't go, it's going to be Bryson Barnes again. Bryson Barnes seemed fine last week against Florida.
Yeah. Full practice participant is what I saw for Cam Rising, but not necessarily starting this game.
Still listed as first on the depth chart. I believe he was last week as well. That doesn't matter. And on the Baylor front, they're going to be without Blake Shapen. He's got a sprained MCL. He's going to be down 2 to 3 weeks, which means Sawyer Robertson, the transfer, is going to get the go as well. Look, as with all things Baylor, I get my news from the Pope.
Okay.
I texted a little bit with Peter Pope of Our Daily Bears this week. Great
Yeah.
Baylor site, good podcast. Check it out if you're a Baylor fan. His concern is not the quarterback. His concern is the lines. And if you watch any of the highlights from the Baylor game last weekend, there was a lot of Swiss cheese there, Dan, against Texas State. They lost to Texas State,
Indeed.
of all teams. I believe if you're Utah, if you're looking at that tape, you're licking your chops. Because that's what Utah does. Utah eats you up along both lines, and that's how they win their games. So -7.5, I'm on Utah here, even on the road.
I disagree.
Really?
I don't like Baylor enough to call them a winner, but
Wow.
there's a letdown element, yes, for Utah.
Is there? I mean, that game
Yes.
was over pretty early on, that Florida game.
Florida might be real bad.
Okay. All right.
Florida might not be so hot, especially with Graham Mertz in there at quarterback. I didn't think the Utah offense was incredible. They didn't need to be against Florida, but as that game wore on, it slowed down considerably, right? The
Sure.
Utah offense with Bryson Barnes, and they have the packages for Nate Johnson. It's quite impressive. I think the defense is extremely impressive for Utah and should cause a lot of havoc for Baylor. I think we are potentially in a magic little elixir moment of Utah being super high, literally and figuratively, off of that win. High because of altitude, Ty. Calm yourself.
Sure.
And Baylor having its worst day, perhaps in a look-ahead spot against Texas State. Now, that's an awful worst day to lose to the Bobcats, all due respect to G.J. Kinney. Utah typically doesn't win these games. On the road against Power 5 opponents, Baylor's possibly average to below average. I concede you this. But in terms of that specific line, I think it's a little much. I really do think it's a little much. I'm not ready to write Baylor off as a 3-9 team or something.
I am
A loss.
I am throwing up a red flag here at your level of confidence because
I love week 2. This is arguably my favorite week of the year.
This is the best weekend to bet because everyone overreacts. I don't like that you are this confident about Utah, that you know your Pac-12 pretty well.
Oh, I think Utah's a very good team and could win this conference. There is
makes me nervous about my pick, is what I'm saying.
There is something about the number that feels a little suckery.
Okay.
That I don't know. That I think Baylor can have a better day than what they showed with line concerns. Whatever. I still like some of their offensive skill talent. There was a lot of Baylor people who were clamoring for Sawyer Robertson over Blake Shapen until he was named the starter, I think, in the spring, but they were disappointed with that naming. So I'm just treading carefully and taking the points because this falls into that sweet spot of a little bit high-low coming into the middle and Utah going on the road for it. If we were in Salt Lake, I'd feel a lot better, but I don't know. Something throws me about this one.
Well, this is one of the games to pick on Run the Board week 2. And already we've seen an interesting spread of picks. Again, verballers.com is where you can go to play that. You can get in for week 2. You can get in whenever you want. All you got to do is sign up for any Patreon tier at verballers.com. Sign up for $5 if you want to sign up for $5 and play for the $100 gift card this week. We're going to have cool prizes every week, literally every week throughout the span of this whole season-long contest. At the end, the winner, the overall winner, gets a seat on our board.
Yeah.
If you go out there and really go pedal to the metal and go, something crazy like 8-4, 9-3, even 7-5 probably gets you a chance still to be part of that board of trustees. So verballers.com is where you can find out more, but I expect this game is going to be one that's split down the middle. I really do.
I'm right there with you. I went back and forth on this because I do think Utah is clearly the better team. It threw me being in week 2. And yeah, I agree. Play run the board. The home field thing will be great. Week 8, by the way, week 7 or 8, Ty has agreed. I can't believe he agreed to do this, but Ty gives a life-changing shiatsu massage. The winner of week 8's run the board. If you can get to Eastern PA,
okay.
Ty goes premium with the oils. The soundtrack is exquisite, but that's for week 8. That's down the line. We'll circle back. Continue, Ty.
12 noon ABC. It's Notre Dame -7.5 at NC State.
Yeah.
Interesting line here. This is a weird line. Speaking of sucker lines, this one feels off to me. It is a step up in competition for Notre Dame. We're getting to some teams now that Sam Hartman has seen before. The stat that I found that you found.
Yeah.
We both are fixated on this stat. Sam Hartman has thrown 3 interceptions in each of the last 2 matchups against NC State. If you take it in totality over his career, he's thrown more interceptions against this defense than he has against any other defense he's played in the span of time that he's been a starting quarterback or played quarterback at all at Wake Forest. He does not like this 3-3-5 that he's going to play.
Tony Gibson
does not like it. He has not done well against this.
How many wolf picks will he throw? You like that? Wolf picks?
It's not bad.
It's right there. Yeah.
That's not bad. I also think you can make the case, though, if I'm being honest, that this is a much different offense now. He was being asked to throw the ball 45 plus times when he was at Wake Forest to basically win the game, probably with a better receiving core at Wake Forest than he's got right now at Notre Dame, or at least a more proven receiving core than he has now.
Yeah, guys like A.T. Perry, yeah, they were really strong dudes out wide.
Really good receiving core, but it's just different now. He's not going to have to throw the ball 45 times. If he throws it 30, there's probably an issue for Notre Dame. It's much more built around the run and physicality. And it's got a defense behind it, frankly, that helps more than it hurts. He didn't have any of that at Wake Forest. So that is, I think, the dynamic here. The line is weird. We know the priors, but it's a different setup altogether at Notre Dame than it was Wake Forest. Where are you at here?
Right. Have Brennan Armstrong and Sam Hartman played against each other 13 times for 15 different teams?
It feels that
Robert
way.
and I is somehow involved in this one. He's been all over the ACC. Yeah. Man, this is the most all Costco conference matchup affiliated with Notre Dame. Games in Raleigh. You are I think the point that's well taken from you, and that I sort of sat on a little bit too, is that Sam Hartman has the luxury of a power rushing attack that should make his life easier against NC State, which NC State's pretty strong corners. There's, I think, considerable all ACC level star power on this defense. They didn't look super together and awesome on offense last week. Brennan Armstrong at any time could put up like a 300 and 100 game, and at any time could put up a 114 and 28 game.
Yeah.
And so your belief has to be in Notre Dame on the road, the confidence in playing what you consider to be bully ball, not what you consider to be, it is bully ball, that Notre Dame has that ability with the power rushing attack and an improved line. I think I'm taking points here in the same way that I took the points with Baylor, with Miami, where it's like, what is Notre Dame earned this year? Right? They've taken care of business, underrated, as I like to say, probably too much, but there is the interception thing. There is the baggage there that I don't know. I have to see something like this roll out, Notre Dame winning by, 34-20 or something like that in a matchup like this. I think NC State's a quality team. No more Tim Beck. That's something.
No,
that's
not
something.
Bad. Yeah.
So I'm taking points here.
Yeah.
I think Notre Dame's a better team. I have them at winning this one something like, I don't know, 28-24, 28-22. I don't know, something weird like that. But no, I'm happy to take the points where we don't know a ton about Notre Dame against a quality team, and we have a little bit of scar tissue for Sam Hartman and NC State, and the game is in Raleigh. So yeah, that's my reasoning there. I'm taking points.
I like Brennan Armstrong, and I like the reunion between him and Robert and I think that's fine, but I don't really like NC State. I think they're like the 8th or 9th best team in the ACC, and I think Notre Dame's going to beat them up on the ground.
Okay.
I'm also not sure who else I'm supposed to worry about with the NC State offense. I think it's going to be a lot of Brennan Armstrong.
Yeah.
And he's good at that. He was good at that at Virginia.
Yeah.
That was kind of his MO. Not last year, but I think this is who he is and what they're going to try to do with the offense. I'm just not sure that there's a complement. So I would not bet this game, to your point. I wouldn't touch this game with a 10-foot pole because the line feels suckery to me. I could easily see the style of play in this game making the score lower and closer than meets the eye. I think it's Notre Dame something like 27-17. I'm not sure NC State can score on Notre Dame, but it's going to be flirting with that 7.5, which is why I wouldn't touch it.
NC State last year, different team, different guys, whatever, but same coordinator, same philosophy, finished 4th in the country against the run, 14th in terms of forcing 3 and out, which I think is going to be crucial against a team that has a first priority still to me of establishing the run, unless you think otherwise.
No, that's 100%.
So that's 100%. Fascinating. Philosophically, they've succeeded even when their team has been not week to week excellent. Next,
four other very quick games I'm going to mention here in the early window, and then we'll get to the afternoon.
Okay.
12 o'clock ESPN2, Purdue at Virginia Tech -3. We both like Tech -3.
I mean,
we're
might be a strong word. We're both willing.
We're both willing to go
Yeah.
Virginia Tech -3 because, at least in my case, I'm not crazy about Tech.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about Tech, but after what I saw on the Purdue side, it feels like a full rebuild might be in progress there. And I never would bet real currency on this game either, but I'll take Tech -3. Purdue's defense minus Fresno wasn't very good. So I'm in on Tech. I'm in on Troy plus 16.5 against K-State because that's a lot of points. And Troy's still got a pretty good defense.
Okay.
So I'm in on Troy. I'm in on Vandy plus 10 against Wake Forest. This is an early kickoff at 11 a.m. Eastern time on ACC Network.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also in on James Madison -6 against Virginia. It's a road game. It's at Virginia. I think it's probably very meaningful for JMU to play an in-state opponent.
Sure.
And I also think Virginia might be catastrophically bad again, at least on offense. So those are my 4 other picks. I don't know if you agree, disagree, want to spar about any of those, but that's where I'm at.
Okay, I disagree on a chunk of that. Okay, I like Wake -10 because I don't think Vandy's all that good. I don't think their pass defense is all that good, and we know Wake is going to just throw the ball repeatedly. I think it's a bad matchup for Vandy. I don't think the Vandy offense was especially good last week. Ken Seals came in and was better than AJ Swan against, was it Alabama A&M? Is that who Vandy beat last? Like, I don't think Vandy was that impressive. Now, I still want them to go to a bowl game. I want them to go to a bowl game because I made the spicy prediction. But I am more down on Vandy than I thought I would be. I thought the defense would be in a better place, and it's just not at the moment. I think it's a bad matchup. I'm happy to give those points. I think Wake is better. As much as you doubt Mitch Griffiths, give me Wake there. I think Kansas State's way better than Troy. I do. I think Troy has a very good defense when they play teams in their conference.
Kansas State always has a game like this. They always have a random clunker.
With Adrian Martinez last year, they had the random clunker. We're talking about the Will Howard and Avery Johnson led.
Okay. Oh, boy. You love Avery Johnson.
A very Johnson.
Yeah.
A very Johnson. Okay. So I'm going with K-State big here. I think they run all over Troy, and I don't think Troy's offense is in anywhere near a place to keep up with K-State on offense. And I have Virginia against James Madison. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't know. Somebody has to win this game, and Virginia's going it home. And
I was going to say, why don't you tell me why, Dan? I love to hear
a little
this.
bit that last year JMU was beating up on a bunch of Sun Belt teams, then played against a average to maybe above average Louisville team and just got shelled on the road. Like, it is a different level. ACC players, say what you will about Virginia. I don't think what they are against Tennessee in week 1 is necessarily representative. Not high on the Who's. Think it could certainly be a long season. Do I think they're upper tier Sun Belt quality? Not yet. I'm not willing to go there yet, so I'm taking Virginia. I think they still have enough guys on defense, even after losing key dudes to the portal, that I'm maybe this is a hopeful, maybe this is wish casting that Virginia is an actual ACC team, but yeah, that big of a dog at home to JMU. No, I think it's kind of a fool's errand.
Let's get to the afternoon block.
Okay.
You said you were excited about this block.
No, when you said the window is the afternoon, or you said the early window,
Yeah,
the one you'd skip as the window opportunity.
Well, which of these games excites you the most? We've got 4 listed here on our sheet. We've got Ole Miss, Tulane, Iowa State. I put Texas State, UTSA, excuse me. Also a 4-letter team starting with UT, and App State at North Carolina as the 4 that we'll do a quick mention of here. Which of those 4 are you most excited to watch if you're picking?
Oh, easily Cyhawk. No question in my mind. Yeah.
3:30 on Fox. It is Iowa -4 on the road at Iowa State. Here is my question. Never mind who you think is going to win. Does the winner of this game get to 25 points?
No, definitely not.
Does the winner get to 20 points?
Sure.
Who are you picking?
Iowa State.
Why?
I think we're going to have 2 good defenses, and one of them is playing at home in a rivalry matchup. The other offense, like Cade McNamara's Iowa offense last week, screeched to a halt quickly against Utah State and missed opportunities deep in Utah State. Like, I don't love Iowa here. If they're going to win this game by double digits or 7 to 10 points, whatever. It's going to come off turnovers, and that's very much an Iowa thing. But I don't know. I'm still going to roll with, philosophically speaking, a home dog with a good defense in a rivalry, tough place to play. I'm going with, the central tenets of my belief system here. And I believe Iowa has a higher ceiling, but situationally, I'm going Iowa State here. Even though they very rarely win this game, I'm going Iowa State.
Wow. I've been thinking about something a lot here.
Okay.
We tested the Ferentz fluff up theory. Yeah. We tested it out a little bit last week. And the theory was because they've got this ridiculous KPI now for Brian Ferentz. I agree with it, by the way, but the circumstances are just ridiculous that this would be public. He's got to average 25 points per game to avoid getting fired. We tested the Ferentz fluff up theory last week. And that is that they're going to run it up against weaker competition so that when they play better teams, they're not going to worry about it. You just play the style of football that they want to play. They win 16-14, and he'll be fine. He'll be in the clear. It'll all average out, and he can live to coach another year.
Yeah.
What if we thought about a reverse Ferentz fluff up theory? A reverse theory.
Okay. I'm listening.
Work with
you have
me
my
here.
attention.
A reverse Ferentz fluff up. Perhaps the opposite is true. What if behind Cade Snacknamara, if they throw 4 yards per attempt? I don't know.
Oh, I remember that. Good.
What if they go on the road, they win the Cy-Hawk Trophy 38-17? It's just an explosion of Iowa points. A reverse Ferentz fluff up.
Wow.
What if?
Man, the Peter Northification of Iowa football.
That's what I'm saying. What if?
Man. Okay. I'm agreeing with this zag. I'm agreeing with the spirit of this zag, Ty.
Sometimes you got to think outside the box. You got to be different. We wouldn't be America's college football podcast since 2008.
Yeah, that's true.
If not for zags like this every now and again.
Yeah, the people of verballers.com do enjoy a good zag. Okay. I respect it. I absolutely respect it. I stick to my belief system, but I like the way your brain is moving. It's good by me.
38-17, Iowa wins a Cy-Hawk.
Okay. We disagree. Next game.
Ole Miss Tulane, also 3:30 ESPN2. Ole Miss 7-point road favorite. Now this is intriguing to me.
Yeah.
This is intriguing as we start looking at home dogs and where might the home dog of the week be? Tulane was a popular option in my mind. I am taking Tulane plus the points. Ole Miss won really big last week, and as a result, 77% of the bets, 93% of the public money is on Ole Miss.
Okay.
Tulane has slowly gotten better. Almost every year under Willie Fritz, they've gotten better. They put up 37 last week against a decent defense in South Alabama. I think they will hold their own. I don't think they're beating Ole Miss, but we have seen Tulane perform admirably against competition that is perceived to be better than them. 7 points at home is a very attainable line. That's a very attainable number. And that is Vegas basically saying, man, these teams are pretty close. So I'm in on Tulane here, not to win, but to cover the spread.
Yeah, I think so too. The game's in New Orleans. It's a decent number. My problem is I think Ole Miss could just hand the ball off 53 times and probably slowly and surely crockpot Tulane. It seems like, you see the scroll at halftime and it's 14-10 Ole Miss or something like that. And then you look up again in 38 minutes and it's 35-13. You're like, oh, okay, that got out of hand. I'm going with Tulane here. I don't love the pick, but I like having a good home team with a good quarterback in Michael Pratt, and would like to see more from the Ole Miss defense. Again, this is the similar line of thinking to go on the road against a quality team where I don't think we have a good sense of where Ole Miss's defense truly is at the moment. No. I think they're going to score points, but yeah, I'm going to say 30-27 Ole Miss.
30-27. I feel like that's about right.
Could see a crock potting, but I'm going to bring it closer.
The two other games that I mentioned at the top of this block that I'll round out with, I've got Texas State plus 12.5 against UTSA. I didn't think UTSA looked all that good last week.
I have Texas State in the points. I think it's a shootout.
Yeah, I didn't think UTSA looked that good at all. And it was disheartening because we've been so big on Big Frank Harris, but they didn't look good.
No.
And Texas State won, and they're kind of in the midst of their own Colorado-ing type movement. with transfers and whatnot, GJ Kinney.
Yeah.
So give me the Bobcats. And then 5:15 ACC Network, App State at North Carolina. I put this one on here because this game was crazy as hell last year.
Yeah.
This was a week 1 game that North Carolina won 63-61. It was kind of the coming out party for Drake May, where we're looking at the numbers like, they might have something here. They might have something here. Are you buying in on the North Carolina defense?
Oh, not
buy in?
fully. I can buy improvement here and there. I don't think it's going to have the same rhythm of last year's matchup. App State loses their offensive coordinator, of course, to Mississippi State. I don't buy North Carolina's defense, but I'm not sure I'm buying App State's offense. I think North Carolina might look a bit sluggish in this one. I don't have a good reason for App State to hang around. I don't think they're terrific this year. So, man, I went back and forth with this one. I think I'm going to give the points. I think it might be a somewhat close game, but I think ultimately, look, the new clock rules sort of change bigger spreads that you're uncomfortable with in terms of limiting possessions, drives, whatever. But I still think North Carolina can win this game by 3 touchdowns. So I'm going to say 42-20 UNC.
I have 42-21 written down, and we didn't compare. We didn't compare notes before this. We never did.
Not.
All right, shall we get to the night window?
Let's.
All right. There are some games in this night window that we need to talk about. Yeah. Get ready. Get back in time from, junior soccer match or the baseball fields or playing flag football, the orchard, whatever the family men and women out there are doing. Just get back in front of the TV in time for 7 o'clock, because this is when this thing really starts to heat up on Samoyed Saturday, right? Yeah. This is when you're starting to hear the barks. 7 p.m. on Fox, your Oregon Ducks -6.5 on the road at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
It's a strange line, Dan.
Explain.
Strange line. I saw this. This is a flashing red light, that little police light emoji that we use all the time. That's what this is, this line.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon won 81-7 last week against Portland State.
Yeah.
And Texas Tech lost in double OT on the road in Laramie against Wyoming. Naturally, that means Texas Tech is less than a touchdown home dog against the Ducks. Yes. What am I missing here? What am I missing here? You did the preview on both these teams in the preseason. So what am I missing here with this line?
The case for it being relatively close is that was starting your season off in Laramie. As I pointed out before last week's matchup, that's a tall task.
It was stupid. It was stupid. I don't know why they did it. Anyway, continue.
Definitely somebody.
True.
Texas Tech at times, mainly the first quarter, looked opportunistic and taking advantage of short fields, scored a bunch of points. Tyler Shuck looked good connecting downfield. And then it wasn't even like a back and forth game. It was Texas Tech holding on to get to overtime and losing in double overtime. So I struggle with this because Texas Tech is not as bad as they were last week, because I like to give teams week 1 passes, that you're sorting things out in week 1, and sorting things out in Laramie can be tricky. And so you want to pencil in some improvement, correcting the correctable. They have a quality quarterback. They're playing at home in a difficult place to play. Oregon really has obviously been tested, only taking on Portland State, took care of business. I don't know, man. Texas Tech just lost a very important linebacker for at least a month or so, 4 to 6 weeks. And I don't think that was a position group they could afford to lose a guy.
No.
So
no.
I'm very hesitant to do this. But man, there's too much Tyler Shuck scar tissue for me not to. Oregon's my lock of the week here.
Wow, your own team.
Yeah.
Lock of the week.
Wow. This is going to make you feel even worse. I'm on the Ducks too, not as a lock.
No, not as a lock. Not a double barrel, but there is something about, like, Oregon just has too many ways. They've got the much superior. I don't know what they've got. The clearly superior quarterback to me. The offensive line answered. I mean, it's Portland State, but I think the offensive line looks very good. They're rotating in a ton of youth on defense. I have a couple questions about the secondary, but not at safety. That sort of answered for me last week. Just the instincts and the tackling ability. I don't know. I have this one as like 38-17 Oregon. I think it's a very comfortable win in Lubbock.
Well, we both like Texas Tech this year.
Yeah.
We both like Tech this year. That moving forward in future years, we think it's a program that's on the rise.
Yeah.
But Oregon giving less than a touchdown. I don't know. I'm on the Ducks, even in a weird road spot at night. I'm sure the crowd's going to be raucous.
Sure.
But I just kept coming back to the fact that both of us believe Oregon is good enough to win the conference, Pac-12, and be a playoff contender.
I think the pass rush is going to be a lot better against Texas Tech than it was last season, and then you can just sort of sit in coverage.
If we believe both those things to be true, which we saw, they won by 74 points.
Yeah,
nothing changes my mind on that. If we still believe that both those things are true, then they win this game by 10 to 14 points, and they cover the spread.
I think it could be ugly, honestly.
So
I'm trying to find a reason because I hate loving my own team this much against a quality opponent, but I don't know. Last week really set me back a little bit in my Texas Tech optimism. The specific way that they lost, I don't know. I'm not with it, so I'm worried. If I'm a
7:30 ABC, Wisconsin -6 at Wazoo. This is my home dog of the week, by the way.
I like that.
This is my home dog of the week. Where's my sound?
Find it.
There it is.
The Yakos home dog of the week.
Yeah, we didn't even mention Cam Ward last week, but he threw for over 450, had 3 touchdowns. Probably should have gotten a dude alert for that performance. Lincoln Victor, his star wideout, 11 catches for 168. Remember, this is a different offense this year. This is Ben Arbuckle, the savant who comes up, the young savant. He's like 14 years old. He comes up from Western Kentucky. It's a faster paced offense. It's more vertical. I think this is a fun game. I think it's a fun game to watch. It's on late. It's not going to get the hype because there are other bigger games in this window.
Yeah.
Either way, Wazoo can hang with Wisconsin. Wazoo can hang with Wisconsin. Wisconsin might run it 50 times, and Cam Ward might have to try and claw out of a hole with limited time at his disposal. But I am just very, very wary of a scorned Wazoo. A scorned Wazoo that got left out of all the conference hubbub. It gives Jake Dickert some bulletin board material. This is a matchup, right? They can kind of indirectly get back at the Big Ten for stealing Oregon, for stealing Washington.
That'll show them. Yeah.
I got Wisconsin winning, but close. Winning 28-24.
Right.
I think this is a really good matchup that Wazoo at home shows that they are a solid opponent this year with a revitalized offense and a good enough defense to keep this one tight.
As we saw last year, Big Ten team heading to the Pacific Northwest early on in the season, trying to get that sleep bank right and just not quite getting it with Michigan State traveling to Washington. I'm going with Wazoo here to win outright.
Outright?
I don't love Wazoo as a team, but I'm not sure Wisconsin is there yet. They lost this game last year, and of course, Wisconsin fans will point to the fact they're like, "Oh, we outgained them. We had turnovers." That means you're bad at winning. You're bad at winning.
Bad at winning.
If you outgain a team, this preview brought to you by the Clemson Tigers. Clemson, pretty good at football. Scoreboards TBD. I think Wazoo is better at home in a strange environment, in an unlikely environment for Wisconsin football. I'm going with Wazoo outright to test Wisconsin downfield a good amount and give Wisconsin some growing pains. How about that? I'm going with the strange nature of Pullman, Washington, and the Palouse.
7 p.m. UCF.
Yeah.
New member of the Power 5 now. UCF -3.5 on the road at Boise. Boise comes back home now.
Yeah.
This week. They have to deal with another offense in UCF that's really good. So no rest for the weary on that front. I don't want to read too deep into what UCF did last week over Kent State.
Sure.
They did seem pretty together and pretty organized. Now, Kent State might be like, you can make a case for Kent State as the worst team in college football.
Yeah.
All of college football this year. But give me UCF here again. I don't like the fact that I'm taking road favorites a lot on this year's show.
Mm-hmm.
I really like UCF. In the preseason, I really liked what I saw from them in week 1. And I think Boise will be able to score. It's not going to be the same deal as it was a week ago against Washington. And UCF's offense is certainly not that good.
Right.
But I like UCF to win and cover here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Boise here. I don't love
Okay.
the Boise defense in this very moment, but I don't think UCF has the same amount of firepower on offense as Washington, because basically 4 teams in the nation might when Washington is operating at its best. So I'm going with Boise here. I'm buying low a little bit here. And as a home dog, I think Talon Green will improve. I think it's a nice overreaction spot for Boise as a home dog at altitude, weird blue field. I don't know. Give me the Broncos here.
Arizona at Mississippi State, -9 in favor of Mississippi State. I love Arizona here.
Oh man, that's worrisome to me. Continue.
I've been watching this line like a hawk, man. And for a minute yesterday, it jumped up to 10, and I couldn't get it in time before it went back down to 9.5. But this is a great barometer game for both teams. Like, Mississippi State's in transition with the offense. The defense is good. I think the defense will be good. The secondary is a complete rebuild, which is actually why I think I like Arizona here.
Okay.
Because I think Arizona can throw on them. And on the Arizona side, if you're Jed Fish, you're going into SEC territory at night in a game that people can watch on their TVs.
It's true.
That's kind of a dub in and of itself. Their defense, very much work in progress. We don't got to talk about the defense. But the offense, I think, will be very, very good. I think Arizona wins it outright. I got them outright here. I think this is a good time to catch Mississippi State because Mississippi State had the feel-good win last week, right? Get one out of their system. And now they've got LSU on deck. LSU comes to town next week. Maybe a bit of a look-ahead spot. So I think good game. I think Zona wins 34-31.
Yeah, I'm taking Mississippi State to win this game, but I think it's too many points. I think they win by a touchdown. It's a bit shootout-y, but ultimately I think the Mississippi State front wears down the Arizona front so the Arizona offensive line, and swarms Jaden DeLora a little bit too much in terms of what he'd like. So I'm going with Mississippi State to win, but I'm going to take the points. I'm with you that the number feels pretty high given all that's new in Starkville and the look ahead factor with LSU. So yeah, I'm going
more on this game a little bit later.
Ooh, I like that.
Continue. Game a little bit later. 3 other ones real quickly that I'll mention. You can tell me if you have a lean one way or the other. I like Pitt -7 over Cincinnati. I like Oklahoma -15.5 over SMU. I like San Diego State to cover ever so slightly a 14.5 point spread as a home dog against UCLA.
I have Pitt to win by 10 to 14 points and cover. I have Oklahoma big against SMU. I have UCLA barely covering against San Diego State because I hate the Aztec offense. And I have Jacksonville State covering too many points against Coastal Carolina. I think they're going to be able to run on the Chanticleers.
Yeah, Coastal's offense did not look very special against UCLA.
No.
And now they're coming back home against the Jacksonville State team.
Okay.
That's 2-0 in their first FBS games, their first 2 FBS games.
The pride of Conference USA.
Also 2-0 against the spread.
Yeah.
And you always wonder with some of these teams that jump up, how long it's going to take for the odds makers to figure out what the line should be.
Yep.
This could be another one of the. I agree with you. I think it's like 30-24.
Well, by the way, I think
Coastal wins.
I want to say was Logan Smothers the guy who came in last week? Nebraska transfer, Logan Smothers from Jacksonville State. Zion Webb, starting quarterback for Jacksonville State, was like sick the morning of. Logan Smothers stepped in, was very good.
Yeah. We also have a second night window, if I could
please
play it again. This is like the Pac-12 after dark window.
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma State -3.5 at Arizona State. We've got Auburn -6.5 on the road at Cal, and Stanford +29.5 on the road at USC. My lock of the week is Oklahoma State.
Wow.
Lock of the week.
Yeah. The battle of 2 teams that I've said nothing nice about for about 2 years running.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things that come to mind. So ASU won last week. What was it, 24-21?
Yeah.
And Jaden Rashada got the start, showed flashes.
Nice first half.
But it was a sloppy game, especially in the second half, both literally and figuratively against Southern Utah. Not as close as the final score would indicate, but ASU's got a lot of cleanup to do. They had a ton of penalties. They're just not a good football team yet. And they could get there in due time. But you combine that with the fact that I think they are going up against a better team in Oklahoma State, whom I'm also not crazy about. But I still give them the benefit of the doubt here. and they won last week 27-13 against Central Arkansas, which doesn't look great on paper, but the game was never really close because they were juggling quarterbacks. And
They
I don't
beat
know.
Ann Arkansas, though.
They
Not
beat Ann
Arkansas, but Ann Arkansas.
And Arkansas.
Yeah.
-3.5 is the line here. I think that is not nearly enough here. So I've got Oklahoma State winning by 7 to 10 points.
Oh, I think I disagree. I don't even like Arizona State at all, but I don't like either of these teams, and one of them is playing at home. So I'm going with ASU. I don't think they're good. I think Oklahoma State, though, on the road is a team. Who's starting at quarterback, by the way? Do we know for Oklahoma State?
I believe it is still going to be Garrett Rangel or Alan Bowman.
Okay, cool.
I believe that is the official line from Mike
Love
Gundy.
Brandon Presley. They've got a couple good players, but no, I'm going ASU here. I think some Pac-12 after dark magic here in the desert.
All right,
How about that?
Fair enough. Do you have a lean on Auburn, Cal?
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
weird
going with
game.
Cal. I'm going with Cal. I told you this in the offseason. I'm going with Cal. I don't know why, but we have seen early season Justin Wilcox and Cal against Power 5 opponents, against non-conference opponents, somehow pull it out. I don't trust Auburn at the moment. Peyton Thorne on the road. We all know that Cal is a hornet's nest of a state. No, it's not at all. But with this new offense, with Auburn, I didn't even think Peyton Thorne at times looked great last week against UMass. So I don't know. I'm going with some Cal magic here. I know Sam Jackson practiced after he got hurt, but Ben Finley is a quality option. I think Cal might be able to run a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm going with the magic here. Traveling far distance, playing at a weird place. I don't know. I'm going Cal
Look,
here. Outright, by the way.
Wow, that's ballsy. This is an odd game. This is an odd game. Any way you shake, it's an odd game. I think the line's probably going to go higher at kickoff. Right now, it's 6.5. 72% of the bets, 89% of the money on Auburn. I agree that Cal's offense could be interesting, especially with Sam Jackson.
Hold on to your butts.
Good. Nice. If he plays.
He's back. He's back at practice, but day to day.
You know what? I'm very easily seduced, Ty. That's something about me, just big picture as a human and in terms of college football, right? I see Cal suddenly showing offense. I'm like, I think she winked at me. Was that what happened?
Yeah.
Are we going to get married? So you give me 1 week of quality football unexpectedly on the road at North Texas. I'm taking that. I think she wants 3 kids. What? Oh, it turns out she was winking at somebody else. I'm still going with Cal.
All right. 10:30 on Fox, Stanford, USC. USC favored by 29.5. That feels like a lot to me.
I think it's a lot of points with the clock rules. I think Stanford is going to be efficient enough with the ball to possess enough to merely lose by 21 or something like that.
And finally, if we travel back in time to Friday, it's Illinois -3 against Kansas. Well, Friday night action here at 7:30. You gotta lean in this game.
Yeah, Kansas.
Yeah, I think I'm going Kansas.
I think I just early on in seasons, I just enjoy home teams in what appears to be a decent enough matchup. And Illinois is bringing some sloppiness with the penalties on the road to Lawrence, Kansas. You don't go to Lawrence, Kansas, bringing that on the team charter. No, absolutely not. Give me the Jayhawks.
I agree with that. Do we want to mention the Cal Duke or the Clemson Duke thing real quick?
Please. I think it's pretty simple. And I gave my 45-second evaluation on Instagram and YouTube shorts right after the fact. Clemson's bad at winning. And you can outgain a team. You can get to the red zone, but then you have field goals blocked and you fumble it and you're not showing a ton in terms of an ability to close out drives. I don't think you're all that good, and doesn't go for Clemson exclusively, but the way that Duke defense played, opportunistic, bend but don't break in that game, gave, the club level, Cade Klubnik fits.
Club level is closed for health code violations currently.
The level of receivers at Clemson is scary, unfamiliar to me. I don't know. I'm still in on Clemson as a good team. They can beat Florida State. I guess maybe sort of if they figure things out pretty quickly.
That Clemson team's not beating Florida State.
Clemson doesn't, but it was very foreign to see, and I'd like to put a lot more respect on, especially the Duke defense and Mike Elko's name, because they played really, really well. I don't know how else to put it, but Duke's a better football team than Clemson. That's
Clemson's offense looked exactly the same as a year ago.
Yeah.
It didn't look any different. And everything a lot more side to side. They weren't really going down the field. They were having trouble with receivers, finding space. It just wasn't good.
They weren't, and on defense, they didn't even look that like they weren't
didn't look good on
tackling that
defense.
well.
No, they gave up big
Leonard was
plays.
scrambling. Yeah.
They gave up big plays. It felt like some sort of shift. Now it was week 1. You don't want to read too deeply into it, but I don't know. That was a flashing red light to me that maybe something is up at Clemson. I went so far as to say that Clemsoning is back. I brought it out of retirement.
That's you. I do not bring that out.
This might be one of the few things we disagree on.
Yeah.
But I brought it back. I feel like it was warranted here.
All right. Fair. I mean, the only definition qualm, is that the word I'm looking for? I don't know. The only issue I take from a definition standpoint is Clemson had done nothing this season to give people hope that they were a really good team or a top 10 team, a top 5 team, whatever. And so I don't think they had increased expectations based on their own play, other than, winning the ACC last year and getting a lot of attention. But they had
forget about all that and the previous 10 years.
No, but I'm saying they had
nothing to do with it, Dan. Nothing at all.
They didn't do anything on the field to confirm optimism this year.
You're a Dabo apologist now.
No, I am absolutely not a Dabo apologist. And I giggled a little bit during that game, but I have retired that term. I think it's a done thing for me.
Dude, he needs to grow the goatee.
He absolutely.
Dabo needs the evil goatee to turn this thing around. That's what it's going to take.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's all we got for week 2, is it not?
It is, unless you count the ability to drop that big, stanky, quivering drum and fife tap.
Oh, baby, 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 oh, baby. Okay. High noon.
Yeah.
Big Noon Patriot League, Holy Cross at Boston College. I'm going to go Holy Cross here. Why not? Why the hell not?
The nail in Jeff Hafley's coffin?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this would be the nail in the coffin.
Non-Power 5 losses?
Sacred Heart at Georgetown, going to the Hornets' Nest. It is multi-sport field. We go Georgetown at home, yeah?
Far be it for us to select against them.
Lehigh at Merrimack, the team, not the ship.
Yeah.
Going Lehigh. It pains me to say that, but I'm going
Where's
Lehigh.
Merrimack College located? Andover, Massachusetts. You spent a lot of time in Andover?
Never,
not me either. I'm going Lehigh here for Solid Wife Kate. How about that?
Lafayette at Duke. Dukies, perhaps in a bit of a letdown spot with the Yetis coming to town.
Man, I would not want to be Duke in this spot because they are going to be very tired from trampling Lafayette. Gonna need some extra oxygen. Still going with Lafayette here to pull the upset because that's who I am.
Yeah, we got to go Yetis.
Yeah.
Fordham at Buffalo. Give me Buffalo. Take Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Buffalo here as well.
VMI at Bucknell.
Look, if it were like a national military,
Yeah.
sure. The Virginia military?
Just Virginia.
Absolutely not. Give me Buffalo.
Finally, we got Colgate, the Gators, on the road at Villanova, Dan.
Yeah, I'm going Nova here, as much as I respect Colgate and Hamilton, New York, if memory serves.
Yeah.
Villanova just is it's located in a superior pizza area. So that's how I'm deciding this one. I'm still trying. I want to do a Philly pizza tour with you. That's a dream of mine.
Come on over.
Listen, you and I will go to Philly with whoever wins week 8 and gets the signature Ty Hildenbrandt shiatsu massage.
Mm-hmm.
Deal?
I'll do the pizza tour. I'm not doing the shiatsu massage.
Oh, man, that's fair. Okay. What else do we have, Ty? Do we have something that we can give confidence in?
Ty versus the world.
Steve, le monde, el mundo,
Sekai,
Fiat.
Ty versus the world.
Presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Finally won a bet last weekend, Dan. Just one. But
All right, I'll take it.
we're on the road to recovery. We're starting off with Iowa, -4 at Iowa State. You know where I stand on this.
I do.
The reverse fluff up coming into effect. 38-17. Big win coming for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm also on Virginia Tech -3, willing to go Virginia Tech -3 at home against the Purdue Boilermakers, who again, I think are in a full rebuild. I am all in on Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
plus the number on the road at Mississippi State. And my lock of the week, of course, was Oklahoma State minus 3.5 on the road at Arizona State. Those are my straight up sort of against the spread picks.
Sure. Do you know where the Iowa player money is going in that Cyhawk game?
I don't know.
That's a joke, everybody. That's a joke.
That's a joke. Yeah.
Because if you did,
you'll probably look into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll probably look into that. Over or under.
Yeah.
My double desert parlay, though, the special Ty versus the world parlay bet.
Oh, double desert.
We've got a combo of Arizona plus 9, Arizona over 20.5 team points, which if they go over 9, they're going to hit over 20.5 team points.
Sure.
I've also got that combined with Utah minus 7 on the road at Baylor.
Sad Kalachiville. Okay.
And Utah scoring more than 23.5 points.
Okay. Okay. The
double desert parlay. Double desert parlay.
Okay. You like spending time in the desert.
Love
that is a thing you love. We're going to
love a good desert landscape.
Golfing in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I like the Arizona picks on that side of that. That's my single desert preference more than the Utah one, but I like it. I hope they hit.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the code SOLID at sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That is code SOLID only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. That's all we got.
That's all we have. Okay,
that is
so
all we got.
It's a form of massage that utilizes hands, thumb, or other body parts to apply direct pressure on various points or channels in the body.
All right.
It's performed through loose clothing, Ty, and does not use oils. I was wrong in the oils department, Ty. I apologize.
Call our Reverb line if you're watching the games this week. The new number is 855-VERBAL-3. Go on out to verballers.com and sign up so that you can play in our Week 2 Pick'em game. We'd love to have you. You also get access to all sorts of other bonus perks, scheme videos that we're dropping on Thursday. You also can take an unofficial visit to our Discord at solidverbal.com/Discord. Can't believe I said that out loud. Verballers.com is where it's at. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure you hit follow or subscribe and tell your friends. For that guy over there, my good friend, Dan Rubenstein, for myself, Ty Hildenbrandt, enjoy the weekend. Samoyed Saturday, and stay solid.
Peace.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See dkng.co/football for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.